Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's IWA Publishing Open Access Town Hall. We've had over 190 people register, so we're really excited to be speaking to all of you today about open access. And it looks like you all come from all over the world and are a mix of librarians and researchers and publishers, so we're very excited to have you today. And before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping information. So we will be recording this webinar and we're going to be making it open access, of course, available on the IWA Publishing website after the session. And for those of you that have registered, we will be sending you as well a post-webinar email with the recording and the slides and any answers to questions that we don't get to today. And for the second half of today's session, we would ask you to please ask any questions that you have for panelists via the Q&A box in your Zoom. So you can see here on the slide, that's the one with the two little speaky thingies. And if you have any sort of non-related questions that are not for the panelists, please use the chat function. And you can all as well chat to one another on that function, say hi. We do have a colleague of mine who is moderating this, so he will be answering any sort of related questions on that. But in the second half, if you do have questions with the panelists, please specify who you're asking the question to and type it in there, and we will try to get to all of those. And just to note, you are all on mute, and we will not be able to respond to the raise hand since there are so many of you on the call today. So I'm very excited today to be speaking to all of our panelists. My name is Sara Bosshart, and I'm the open access publisher at IWA Publishing. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with IWA Publishing, we are a not-for-profit publisher owned by the International Water Association, which is a learned society focusing on all aspects of water, from water and health to water and climate change. And our joint mission really is to spread knowledge worldwide about clean drinking water, safe sanitation, and the latest innovations in water technology and sustainability. And in today's Open Access Town Hall, we will be exploring the topic of open access and how IWA Publishing plans to become fully open access by January 1, 2021. And we will begin by hearing from our 4 different panelists who each represent unique perspectives from IWA membership to journal editing to research. And our panelists today include Professor Enrique Cabrera Rochera, who is the Vice President of the International Water Association and Vice Dean of the Industrial Engineering Faculty at the Universidad Politécnica de Valencia. We also have Sheilja Singh, who is a Ph.D. research scholar from the School of Planning and Architecture of New Delhi in India, and she is also an open access ambassador for IWA Publishing. We will also be joined by Professor Wolfgang Rauch, who is the editor-in-chief of our journal Water Science and Technology and the head of the Institute of the University of Innsbruck in Austria. And finally, we will hear from Cookson, who is our managing director of IWA Publishing. And after we hear from all of our panelists, we will open up the floor to your questions and an interactive session where we very much hope you will get the answers to all of your different questions. So now I'm going to pass on to Cookson, who will start by telling us a little bit about why and how IWA Publishing plans to be open access from next year. So Rod, over to you.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. And good afternoon, good evening, good morning to everyone. Very nice to be talking to you. So I've got the slides. Lovely. As Sarah said, I'm the Managing Director of IWA Publishing. And I'm going to talk about 2 things today. One is what IWA and IWA Publishing have done about open access so far. And then I'm going to go on and talk about why we would like to do things differently next year and ask you how you can help us deliver what will be something very useful for everyone in the field. So we've actually been doing open access for quite a long time. Our first open access article was published in 2006. And the IWA board made a decision to move in a direction of open access as long ago as 2015. We turned Journal of Water Reuse and Desalination into an open access journal in 2017. We have Engenharia del Agua, which is Spanish and Portuguese language, which has always been free to use and free to publish in. And we've launched 2 open access journals, H2 Open Journal and Blue Green Systems, both of which are pure open access journals. And in 2020, this year, we made Hydrology Research, one of our largest journals, a pure open access journal, which is very much a statement of commitment from IWA and IWA Publishing that we want to move in an open access direction. We also work in different ways to try and increase the open access we provide to our journal content. We've been negotiating with research funders and library consortia in various countries for several years. And we've managed to negotiate read and publish deals in the Netherlands, Austria, the UK and Sweden. These allow anyone at subscribing institutions to read our subscription journals. And also, if those researchers publish in our journals, their articles are automatically open access with no charges paid. It's all one centralized agreement, very simple in terms of administration, very easy for the researcher. As well as those initiatives, we've also been working in outreach and in capacity building with an organization called Research for Life for many years. Research for Life active in low and middle income countries. And through our partnership with them, we have a policy where researchers in 70 countries in Africa, parts of Asia, parts of Latin America, can publish in our journals with no charges, open access. We extended that this year with an additional agreement with EIFL, who are a similar organization, which has helped us reach further countries in Eastern Europe and other parts of Asia and the Indian Ocean. What those mean is any researcher in those countries publishing our journal has no charges, is open access. They're good in terms of outreach. They're also good in terms of practice. We had 50 articles from LAMIC authors whose articles were made open access last year, and that number is going up. As a result of those various initiatives, we're publishing a great many more open access articles. This chart here shows the number of articles per year, and you can see that in 2015, that was fewer than 100. And this year, it's almost 600 articles. The majority are in water research and water science and technology, which are the biggest journals. And you can already see in 2020, hydrology research has rapidly expanded as it's moved to open access and is really flourishing as an open access journal. And the direct impact of that is we're being read in far more countries around the world. So this is a map of where articles are downloaded from our journals this year. And for the first time, essentially every country on the planet has downloaded IWA publishing journals. You know, this is a huge step forward from where we were a few years ago. And the dark colors are where there are particularly large numbers of downloads. The lighter colors are smaller numbers of downloads. Historically, we've had many downloads from the USA, from Canada, from the UK, from Australia, and in recent years also China. But if you look at this heat map, you can also see India is a major source of downloads for our journals. And we're getting significant downloads from Indonesia and Japan, Iran, Turkey, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Egypt, Brazil. We really have broadened out the base of who is reading the content of IWA publishing journals through the open access initiatives that we've done. So we've made fantastic progress, but by the end of 2019, only 16% of our articles were open access. If we go back to 2015, when the desire to move in this direction was clearly articulated, that was only 1% of our articles. So 16% is great progress. We're conscious, however, it's a long way from 100%. There's still a lot of distance to go on the journey. And outside what we do within the IWA and IWA publishing, there are changes in the research environment. From next January, Plan S comes into force for 13 research funders in Europe, which means that researchers funded by those organizations need to publish in open access compliant journals. And China is in the process of updating its own research policy and is becoming far more closely focused on open access and what good open access outlets are for articles. and good outlets which provide value for money. So there is an external imperative to change as well. For those reasons, we want to move our 10 subscription journals to subscribe to open in 2021. And that's what we want to talk about in particular today. So that begs the question of what is subscribe to open? It's probably the simplest way of delivering open access in a fair form that is equally helpful to everyone. Subscribers who have taken subscriptions to the journals in the past are asked to continue backing the journals when they become open access. There is no price increase for those subscribers. We simply want them to continue their support. If the vast majority of the subscribers agree, then we can make 10 subscription journals open access for everybody. They will have no article processing charges, and everyone will be able to read those articles. So it's barrier-free publication. There are no limitations on whether somebody can afford to publish in the articles, in the journals, and no limitations on whether a university can afford to subscribe and read the content. Everyone benefits. We need to reach the revenue target is the important thing. If we can do that, we will achieve open access through Subscribe to Open next year. There is information on our website at this URL here, which I will put in the links, or perhaps Ben, perhaps you can put the link in there if you'd like to read more about it. We've also been doing various outreach activities in the recent months. We've done participated in a panel at the Frankfurt Book Fair. We have done another panel at the Charleston Conference, which is the major meeting for North American librarians. We've done a podcast with Against the Grain, which is read widely by librarians. And I believe tomorrow we have a lengthy post explaining our Subscribe to Open strategy appearing in the Scholarly Kitchen, which again is read by many librarians and many publishers. And we're making fantastic progress with our Subscribe to Open. Again, I can put the link for this page in the chat. This is institutions, universities which have agreed to support our Subscribe to Open initiative for 2021. It's already more than 150 universities across all continents in the world. It's fantastic support. We're really pleased to see it. And it's really nice to see the names of some of those universities who are backing us. A simple message for anyone who is based in the university: please do talk to your librarian. Please do go to them and encourage them to support our Subscribe to Open initiative. Explain to them what it is, share the links that we've got there, and back them. 2020, I think, has been a strange year in many ways, but we would like to end 2020 on a positive note, doing something which is genuinely useful. The field we work in, publishes research which does make life better for millions of people every day. It does save millions of lives through better sanitation, through better drinking water, each and every year. It really is important that we make that research available to the largest number of people, be that an engineer in a utility in Buenos Aires, or someone in a university in Tanzania, or somebody working on policy in Shanghai. We really do want our articles to be read by everyone. So everything you can do to support us at this point is fantastically helpful. Please do spread the word and encourage your library to back IWA Publishing's Subscribe to Open initiative. At which point, Sarah, I think you hand over to Kike now.
Yes, thank you, Rod. So now we will hear from Enrique Cabrera Rochera, the Vice President of the International Water Association and Vice Dean of the Industrial Engineering Faculty at Universidad Politécnica de Valencia. And Enrique, I'm going to pass over to you.
Thank you, Sara. Happy I didn't. There we go. I got it wrong, right? Just got it messed up. Just got the wrong button. Got the control, but got the wrong button to get to the wrong part of the presentation. You think you can get me there? Should I?
Yeah, I think you need to go back a few.
Yeah, I think it just jumped to the beginning. Yeah, I'll just scroll through. Sorry about that. Anyway, very pleased to be here. There we go. Oh, it's because it was okay. I just that was the question slide. I wasn't expecting that, so I've done it all right. So I want to talk to you a little bit today about IWA, the International Water Association, and as it was explained earlier, it's IWA Publishing as a publisher is owned by the association, and we are a non-profit association that is trying to deal. It's an association for professionals trying to deal with matters related to water, all matters. And I think that open access as a concept is embedded in the DNA of IWA. If you think about it, the way that professional organizations were born quite a few decades ago, it was the need for professionals, for researchers, for academics, to get together and share knowledge and actually meet each other and try to learn from each other and try to push the boundary of knowledge further. As a matter of fact, if I look at the mission statement of the International Water Association, it's IWA's mission to promote knowledge and provide agenda-setting leadership for the global water community. And I'm just going to take a couple of the bullets that are listed there. The first one is being an international reference and source of knowledge for sustainable water solutions that are robust and flexible in the face of global change pressures. And the second one, supporting the global community to pursue their ambitions in relation to water-related SDGs. And as Rauch was mentioning before, I think that the possibility of having a vast amount of articles available to professionals, to utility managers and technicians, to university professors and students, to researchers, to consultants, the possibility of being able to put all the knowledge out there and being instantly accessible by everyone, I think it could be really a major change in this in the way we're trying to actually achieve IWA's mission. And we've been doing that as Rauch has said, and we've been trying to have more and more journals. But I think that if all of our journals were open access, it would allow IWA to be much more even than we are today. Once and you saw the map and all the countries that we're already reaching with our open access publications, I think it is crucial for IWA as a global association to be able to reach all countries, all water professionals. And I think that having all of our journals open access, it's really going to contribute to that as it's already doing. And that I didn't want to do that, just press once. The second one is many of our members are academics. Many of our members also who are professionals like to publish in peer-reviewed journals. And right now, as many of you will know, there is an increased pressure to us academics, and also I would say a personal wish of many of us to publish our research in open access publications. And I think that when I think about IWA members, we owe it to them to actually provide a vehicle which is open access for the publication, so they can publish in the association's journals and not do it elsewhere. And of course, the fact that the research is available for everyone to access it and to read it and to actually review it and cite it, it means that that same research is going to be much more discoverable. It's going to reach many more people, and it's actually going to be much more effective in reaching the goals that we set ourselves to. So it's not just that everyone can access it, but the impact of research itself, it's also amplified. And of course, we've started that. I think that we are delighted in IWA that we're going down this path of open access, and there's already an IWA publishing page relating all that's there. But ultimately, I think that we need to move forward, and this subscribe to open initiative for us is fundamental, because it's going to allow us also to become more digital than ever. As Rauch was mentioning, 2020 has been a key year, a game-changing year. We started this path before, but definitely 2020 is going to increase our pace towards a more digital world and a more digital association. That means that we're going to build upon our strengths, which is sharing content with our members and outside of our membership, also strengthening our network. But we need to be able to do this in a digital way. And I think that in some way, open access can really play a crucial role in the journey, because it's going to put out there a vast amount of very high quality research papers that can really be used and be put to a very good ends by the water community at large in the world. And that's it from my side. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And now we're going to pass on to Wolfgang Rauch, who is the editor-in-chief of Water Science and Technology and also head of institute at the University of Innsbruck in Austria. And he's going to tell us a little bit more about the perspective from the researcher side and also as editor-in-chief of Water Science and Technology. So Wolfgang, over to you.
Thank you, Sara. I don't have any slides, so bear with me. Just starting from water science technology. Water science technology, as most of you know, is the second largest from volume journal from IWA. We are, if we compare ourselves in the water field, we are one of the oldest journals. And we have firmly established ourselves at the more practice level in the field. If you compare it, like water research would be the top journal, research journal, very fundamental, theoretically oriented. Water science technology would be more in the practical side. And that also is reflected by the impact factor of the journals. Where water science technology is between 1 and 2, slowly moving up, but not in a pace that we would hope for. Whereas water research is very firmly at the upper end of the field. But that was not always the case. So about 20, 30 years ago, these two journals were much more aligned. And what happened over the years was also that with the start of open access, we also have seen a number of competitors coming up in the field and immediately starting in open access. And our question was, when we reflected back, why these competitors have been so successful, and why is it difficult for us as an old traditional journal to work with the traditional role model any longer, and why we need also to make the step into open access. And for that, I would like to share some very personal view, and I would like to go back in my own history about 30 years ago, sorry. When I, as a PhD student and a young postdoc, did my research, of course, we used libraries, and we used printed versions of papers because nothing else was available. But we did not only use those, we also kept copies. We printed those, and even if we moved, we carried around our valuable treasure of big boxes of old papers. Citations have been heavily biased to those papers which we got hold of, because there was no other way. Now, today, it seems to be different because we go into the internet and we just log on and we download some internet search engine like Google Scholar or Science Direct or whatever, and then we search for the paper. If we don't find it online, we skip it. If it's really important and if it shows up once and again in the whole search process, in the review process, then we try to get hold of it. Either by phoning people or trying to get hold somewhere of a journal, or we shouldn't do that, but last access probably for PhD students would be to go to Sci-Hub or something else. Again, we have a heavily bias of the citations of what we cite for the journals, for the papers we can get hold of, which are open access in principle. And that is what I think is extremely important in the whole business. So if we are not able to introduce open access in a faster pace as what was anticipated before, then we would lose in the end impact factors. Why is it important? Well, as a journal, there are two things important: the quality of the contributions, but also the quantity of the contributions. And both are somehow linked with the citations. For an author, it's the impact factor, basically, how good is the journal, again, linked to the citation, and the number of personal sites I can expect from a paper publishing there. Again, something linked with the citations. The last thing, which is extremely important for an author, is the speed of handling. But we are working on that. This is not directly connected to this topic here. So for water science technology, it's really eminent to make this step. And I think it's really very good and actually a fantastic thing that we have with this subscribe to open a vehicle to achieve this much faster as we have hoped for originally, and we sort of on the other hand feared. I think personally, open access will be tremendous for water science technology, but also for all the other channels, of course, but for water science technology. And what we hope for is that we can push our impact factor up to a level where we are really competitive. I think our aim would be somewhere in the middle class of journals, definitely in the Q1 target zone. And that would give us a complete new incentive and a push forward. So fully in favor and looking forward to do that 1st of January. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Wolfgang. And now we will pass over to Sheilja Singh, who is our open access ambassador for IWA Publishing, and she's also a PhD research scholar at the School of Planning and Architecture in New Delhi, India. And she's going to be telling us a little bit about her experiences as an OA ambassador and also about the perspective of an early career researcher. So Sheilja, over to you.
Hello, I'm audible?
We hear you, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sheilja. I'm PhD scholar in Physical Planning Department in School of Architecture and Planning in New Delhi, India. I'm doing research on urban water resource management and approaches and serving as a teaching assistant in the same department in Delhi. And currently, I'm exploring surface water related issues, effect of LULC changes on urban surface water resources, existing policies and planning related interventions, existing institutional arrangements, and impact of surrounding catchment of surface water resources for completing my literature study. It is in the current scenario, which I'm doing for my PhD. So my interest area are how urban water and land uses respond to surface water resources, and I want to change the surface water resources picture in Asian countries. For reforming and then implementing the existing projects, schemes which are presently existing at the national level or international levels for improving the condition of surface water resources. So as per my experience in my academics, I would like to tell that I have done work with so many projects in India, basically for Center for Science and Environment on SFD project, and with Beyond Build Private Limited with the Namami Gange project. So here I would like to share my experience with open access, which is like being an early career researcher. Open access is very helpful for me for accessing articles or journals freely, as my domain is very similar or similar. So I'm finding this open access platform is very helpful for completing my literature study. I'm able to get related research articles or research papers very easily. As per my point, knowledge increases by sharing freely. And as it is said in Hindi, ज्ञान बांटने से बढ़ता है. It should be in a shared mode. Um, in academic research also, published material should be free as it is created by using public funds. So everyone has right to access in free manner. It should be free for everyone, especially low and middle economic group students or scholars to access, and everyone would be part of every single knowledge. So in my past experience during my master's and in the beginning of my PhD, I faced difficulty for accessing research articles or papers because I didn't know much about the open access platform. So and every renowned publishing platform needs money to access the research paper, and sometimes the material is not available. No, so some, I have heard about some very tragic events, such as like if the material is not available in public domain, like Aaron Swartz's case. He ended his life after being charged with wire fraud, being he illegally downloaded academic articles. At this time, so this was events has happened in past years. So yeah. At this time, there are 5 fully open access journal under IWA, which are easily accessible on open access platform. I have, as per my past experience, I have published one research paper with open access platform during my masters, and for my PhD, I'm just working on it. And open platform is very effective and efficient at and this help researcher academicians in a very effective manner. Being an ECR, early career researcher, it provides the support for building the previous literature framework for developing new research. Open access develops the interrelation among different research domains so that every domain can be benefited. So next, I would like to tell about my experience being an open access ambassador and why I want to promote this open access platform, which is I would like to say that this is a great opportunity for me, which I get from IWA publishing site, which is like I am getting benefited in terms of worldwide connection with the researchers and academicians of different background in water sector especially, and share, discuss ideas to support open access and spread this knowledge so widely so that everyone can benefit it, and the data would be available to everyone. So as a role of being open access ambassador, it will help me to create strong networks at global level. And the most important opportunity which I got with the help of this platform, I'm getting the access easily available material for completing my work. So being an open access ambassador under IWA, I'm trying to share this available knowledge based data set among my network with the help of social media tool so that everyone will get to know it. And next, I'm trying to share this open access platform under IWA in my institute level and department level as well. So next, I would like to share my opinion for open access, why open access is important to every early career researcher, because open access is very important to ECR, to an ECR, because it provides the published data easily and effectively. So and in a focused direction, so that time can be saved, and that time can be used for generating critical analysis so that research can be very effective. So there's need to share the research published works to make it available and useful to everyone. There are so many open access publishers in present time, which I get to know in later stage. And many countries are allowing to open access platform for enhancing their research fields, like China, like India as well, UK, yeah. Open access are very highly quality publications ones, and are leaders in their respective fields. So in open access, research work will be disseminated at global level and will get wider exposure to research. Research will get higher citation. It will have a higher potential for collaborative, interdisciplinary in a way, so that every different domain will be benefited. So this is all my experience with the IWA open access platform, and being a open access ambassador with it. Yeah, that's all. Over to you, Sara. Thank you. Thank you,
Great.
everyone.
Thank you so much, Sheilja. That was very great to learn about your experiences.
Thank
So
you.
now we're going to be opening up the floor to questions, and I can see that a number are already trickling in. As a reminder, if you have any questions for the panelists, please do put them in the question and answer box. And if you have questions for any specific panelists, please do specify who your question is for. Looking at some of the questions that are already coming in, a lot of them seem to be focusing around APCs and whether the journals will be having APCs. So maybe Rod, can you clarify for the attendees the difference between an APC author pay model and the subscribe to open, and how we're planning to make our journals open access?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, so with subscribe to open, there would be no APCs. That's the attraction of the model. That's the beauty of it. We ask existing subscribers to continue financially supporting the journal. If we can get all of those subscribers to back the journal, then we can make every paper in those 10 journals open access. So essentially, we would be converting the subscription payment that has happened in the past into a fund for open access to support open access. We do have APCs on all of the journals at the moment. For the subscription journals, it's either $1,650 for WST and water supply. For some of the other journals, $1,850. There was one question somebody was saying that was quite high. I think it's high, obviously in certain parts of the world, which we do the initiatives like Research for Life. If you compare to some of our competitors, like the MDPI Water Journal, which again was mentioned in the Q&A section, that's more than $2,000 for the APC. So we have historically tried to have affordable APCs, but what we would really like to do in 2021 is move to a subscribe to open model so that nobody has to pay APCs, and every article published in our subscription journals in WST, which Wolfgang edits, in water supply, in the other subscription journals, there are no APCs and everyone can read them. So we simplify life, we make a fair playing field where everybody is the same financially, and the journals continue to work for IWA and continue to be sustainable.
Great, thank you, Rod. It looks like we also have quite a few questions coming in to do with WST and the impact factor and how you're going to be ensuring that it's actually going to be being read by researchers. So maybe Wolfgang, can you talk a little bit about some of the upcoming plans for WST?
Yeah, I think, well, we already have mentioned this. Impact factor is something where we anticipate an immediate step forward as soon as we turn it into open access. Rod can talk about our experience from other journals where we did this, and we could see there is immediately step up. Of course, it takes a while until the impact factor goes up, but the citations immediately go up because the journal is much more easy to access, and this is the main incentive. One of the comments in the chat was, why should I, as an author, still go into water science technology when at the moment the impact factor is low? yes, this is true. But on the other hand, the impact factor is going up. We are providing at the moment a fantastic deal with this subscribe to open. And we are very sure that by turning into an open access model, that we can boost the impact factor. It's not something where we are simply relying on hope. This is just evidence. This is empirical. We are, of course, doing all what we can do from our side in order to ensure that. We have, that was also one of the questions here, we have gone over the journal about a year ago and streamlined the whole process, trying to kick down really significantly the handling time, time till first decision. Of course, a new journal where you have streamlined the whole process is faster. I acknowledge that water is really extremely fast, but I would also claim that quality has some implications also on time. If you make the whole handling time extremely fast, you're losing somewhere. Yeah? And in order to maintain our quality, in order to maintain what we think is a security check on the papers, on a quality check, to make it really the standard which we can live with, that takes a little bit of time. But we are trying to push that down as fast as possible.
Great, thank you, Wolfgang.
Lovely.
Looks
Wolfgang.
like.
Sorry,
Rod, do you have a comment?
if I can add, yeah, that was very helpful, Wolfgang. I mean, the impact factors have been something we've worked on the journals, on WST in particular, in recent years. They're 54% higher over the past 4 years. They go up every year on average for the journals, so they're significantly increasing. The open access initiatives we've done so far, one of the reasons for that, the number of downloads the journals have is 5 times higher than it was in 2015 compared to this year. You know, we're much higher this year. We are increasing things like search engine optimization, which is quite a complicated task these days, as it's rather different in China to working with Google in Europe and North America. But we very actively work on those initiatives. And echoing, you know, what Wolfgang was saying, all of the journals do apply rigorous peer review. We try and do that peer review very quickly. So there was a question about accept to first decision times. Those are around 40 days on WST at the moment, but in 40 days, that is a robust, detailed review being done of articles. And we are still trying to get the very best articles into the journals and then connect those articles with the widest possible audience. And longer term, that is what we see driving the impact factor up. And in particular, open access will help us follow through on those initiatives, but they're very much driven by editors like Wolfgang, who are looking for the very best content, the most useful content, and looking to put that in the journals.
Great, thank you. It looks like we also have quite a few questions coming in to do with IWA membership. So what can IWA members and other researchers do to help the journals become open access? And it looks like, Sheilja, you wanted to answer that question. So if you have something, you're muted at the moment. So we just...
Sorry, Sara, can you repeat the question? I was looking at another questions actually in the chat box.
Yeah, so what can IWA members and other researchers do to help make the journal open access?
Yeah. So I would like to say in for this question that IWA members or other researchers like me, for instance, like with the help of this open access platform, the knowledge can be shared among the networks, as well as the knowledge can be shared with the at the institute level, so that everyone can be benefited by accessing this open access platform. Yeah.
Great, and maybe Enrique, do you have anything to add to that as well?
No, I mean, I think that as Rob mentioned before, you know, going to librarians, trying to explain also the nature of IWA as an association, it's important, right? Someone was asking about the business model of IWA and how publishing is important. And I think that the association is a not-for-profit. It's just a group of professionals that got together, and supporting this open access model also helps us to build IWA in the way we want it to be. And of course, if we are successful in this, I think that it will be a success also for the association in trying to pursue these ultimate goals that we have, which is pushing a little bit more water knowledge and also trying to influence a little bit more on the water agenda worldwide, which I think is important.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so with the help of this open access platform, we can share this knowledge at a institute level, then one institute to another institute, it can be spread out. So yeah, it will be benefited.
Thank you. And another question looks like, apart from OA journal publications, are there any other plans for open access ebooks, open access course material, and actually related to this, potentially linking to the digital platform, any plans for open data as well?
Is that me, Sarah?
Yeah, sure, go for it, Rod, yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Francois, for that question. Yes, we very much like open access books. We think open access books are a wonderful thing. We work closely with an organization called Knowledge Unlatched, who've helped with the Subscribe to Open initiative we're doing now. In the past 3 years, they've helped raise money from libraries, from funders, which we've used to make books open access. Some of those are new books, some of those are backlist books. But we currently have 65 books which are open access. And similar to the usage we've seen on the journals, we have looked at how that's changed as we've increased the number of open access books we publish. And our readership has become transformed from even 3 or 4 years ago. Most readership of books used to be Europe and North America and Australia. When you look at the usage for books today, it is genuinely every country in the world. It really is. Everybody is seeing those books. So, Knowledge Unlatched have been fantastically helpful. We do work with researchers and authors of books to make sure if they have funding from grants or any other source, we can make their books open access. We, don't look to make insane levels of profit on open access book publishing. We look to cover our costs and make sure we're sustainable as a business. But, the priority for us is getting good content out and readable by people. And we tend to adopt a flexible approach. And so far, it really is helping get our book content out and read by people. And we're conscious that, some of that book content is particularly useful to people in utilities, and that really is reaching something of a different audience to the traditional journal reader market.
Great, and maybe linked to that as well, there are a few questions that are asking, why did you decide to go with a subscribe to open model and not the more traditional OA author pay model?
Yeah. The subscribe to open has several appeals from a publishing perspective. One, we have lots of subscribers in universities already, and we're asking them to keep subscribing, to subscribe to open instead of the old-fashioned subscriptions that they used to have. So it's a very simple change for a library. It's using budget that's already there in the library. So there's no change needed within the university. And we're conscious that one of the discussions about open access has been, how do you transfer funding which might be in a library to a different part of the university to pay for open access? That's quite a difficult thing to do. So from a system change perspective, it's very, very simple. But more importantly, we would like everyone who is interested in IWA's journals to be able to publish in them. If their articles are good, if they're interesting, if they're robustly done, we would like people to be able to publish in our journals, and we would like everyone to be able to read those articles. With Subscribe to Open, that is possible. There are no APC barriers, there are no readership barriers. It's extremely democratic, it's very inclusive, it's very fair. Everybody is treated the same. It's not a better system for rich countries than for poor countries. It really is genuinely delivering on IWA's mission. So the simple reason is, it works brilliantly for researchers and for people in utilities who are interested in every single country.
Great, thank you. And we have a more technical question here from Veronique. Through our IWA membership industry, we have a free subscription to hard copies of Water Science and Technology and Water Research. Does this mean that as of 2021, we have open access to the online copies?
Yeah, thank you, Veronique, for your question. We do like print. We will keep the print available. If people would like to pay for print, that will be possible. Equally, if you're in a utility, working in the water sector, you would have access online to the journals. So it would be a choice for you. There would be some charge associated with fulfilling print, but you would have access through Subscribe to Open online, yes.
Okay, thank you. And then this one, I think might be for you, Enrique. It's why is it difficult for the IWA to pick up on the question, how sustainable is sustainable technology and service?
Wow, yeah, I read that one and I just kind of don't understand it fully. I don't know if you have maybe it can be clarified further, but I was reading that one some time ago.
Yeah, so Johan, maybe you can clarify and we'll get back with that one. Let's see. One of the other questions which we were emailed in advance is sort of how is the Subscribe to Open going so far? And maybe Rod, you can give us an update on where we are.
Yep. So far, going very well. As I said, more than 150 universities have committed to support Subscribe to Open for next year. We're comfortably more than halfway to the target we have to achieve Subscribe to Open. There's still work for us to do, but so far progress has been brilliant. Please do spread the word. Please do encourage your library to get behind us and help us make this happen, because we do need everyone to get behind the model and support the model. But so far progress has been brilliant. We're really pleased with the universities that have committed, and we would just like to see everyone else follow their very strong lead and support us.
Great, thank you. Enrique, I'll let you read that question, but in the meantime, Wolfgang, what do you see as some of the biggest challenges with making WST open access? What are you going to have to focus on in the next couple of years, and what do you look forward to most?
Well, I think the challenge at the moment is for the next 2 years is not too big. The challenge is mostly with Rod in order to ensure that the Subscribe to Open process deals work. For us, running the journal will be pretty much the same. Doesn't change too much. Then we are getting, but we are running upfront a hill, let's put it like this. If we change to the normal role model, APC role model, then of course we have to provide enough service for the authors to really send us the articles. And that means we have to bump up our impact factor, which simply means that in the next 2 years, we have to make the best performance as possible in order to increase the indicators, the performance indicators of our journal, and make it so attractive that in the moment when the other role, the normal open access roles start to kick in, that we are safe and up to a standard that everybody would simply love to publish and further to send the articles.
And if I could contribute on that, Sarah. So I'd echo everything Wolfgang said. And I would also think of some of the things that Sheilja said before, that we have consciously in the past few years been broadening the editorial teams of all of the IWA publishing journals. We do want them to be representative of where research is being done around the world. That's happening on WST and other journals. I think one of the things that Subscribe to Open would help us do is bring in that next generation of good researchers all around the globe, involve them in the journals, have no barriers to those people publishing. You know, if they publish good enough research, they'll be with us and they'll be included, and they'll become part of the IWA family and part of the you know, what the journals we publish are there for. It's very important for us to be a good map of, you know, what goes on in the community in the broadest sense. And I think this is yet another way that we can serve that mission better.
Great, thank you, Rod. So we've only got about 4 minutes left in the webinar, so I'm just going to open up the floor for if any of the panelists have any sort of last-minute comments that you want to make.
Just I had some time to read Johan comment, and just so we don't leave him without an answer. I think this is far too complicated to deal with here. But what I will say is IWA's position is that of its members. So I think you're very welcome to join us in our specialist groups. This is where we debate the kind of issues that you've raised in the questions, and you know, it's through engaging in these debates with other researchers, with other technical people, that you can move forward our position. But there's not such an IWA position on the issues that you're mentioning. But again, this is probably not the time or place. Sorry, Sara.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I would like to answer a very technical question from Professor Dr. Morsi El Sonusi. He asked that there are not enough articles about viruses in sewage. I would think that reflects wastewater-based epidemiology. And just for your information, we are just launching, but I think it's already finished, a special issue in water science technology, specifically on the COVID-19 issue.
I saw Helena put another comment up further to her question. Muito obrigado, Helena. Thank you very much for your question. You know, yes, subscribe to open, we would want to continue as a model in the same way subscriptions carry on. Librarians who have moved to subscribe to open for other publishers so far continue to look at usage data. They look at articles published. We'd have very strong data on those metrics under subscribe to open. We're working out how we would share that with libraries to make sure it's easy for them to get that data. But their essential way of working is if that data is good, they're driven by the data, they're guided by the data, they will continue to support. So I think if we can move to subscribe to open, we can make a very compelling long-term case for librarians to continue supporting the model and keep S2O going in the future.
Thank you, Rod. Sheilja, did you have anything else?
Yes. I would like to say that subscribe to open has a great thing, which is there are no article processing charges and any other kind of charges. So I think, as per my opinion, everyone should subscribe it and use it, because if anyone is getting knowledge in a free mode, so everyone should use it in a proper way. Yeah, that's my point.
Great, thank you. And I'm just going to finally share this screen and to thank everybody for joining us today, and to thank our panelists for sharing their views and their backgrounds with open access today. If you have any questions after the webinar, please do get in touch. You can send me an email there and I'll pass them on to the various panelists. You can also find more information on our website, iwaponline.com/S2O, and we'll be reviewing all of the questions as well to see if there are any we missed and addressing those in follow-up emails after this webinar. But with that, I'm going to close the webinar, and thanks again to everybody.